Every single human being who has ever lived has asked this question. What happens after we die? Scientists have theories, religions have answers, philosophers have arguments. But 5,000 years ago, on a battlefield, a man asked this exact question to someone who actually knew the answer. That man was Arjuna, and the person who answered him was Krishna. And what Krishna said is so detailed, so specific, and so logical that it has never been disproven. Stay with me for the next 8 minutes, because this might be the most important thing you ever hear. First, let me give you the context. Arjuna is standing on the Kurukshetra battlefield. The biggest war in human history is about to begin. On the other side, his own family members, his teachers, the people he loves most in the world. And he breaks down. He looks at Krishna and says, "If I kill these people, even in battle, aren't they just gone forever? What's even the point of any of this if death is the end?" And Krishna pauses. And then he says something that changes everything. He says, "Arjuna, you're grieving for people who don't need to be grieved for, because what you think of as death is not what you think it is." And then he explains exactly what happens, step by step.
Krishna tells Arjuna, chapter 2, verse 20, "The soul is never born and never dies. It has not come into being and will not come into being. It is unborn, eternal, ever-existing, and primeval. It is not slain when the body is slain." Read that again. The soul, according to Krishna Adaikamam, was never born, which means it can never die. Your body is born, your body dies. But you, the real you, the one who thinks, feels, loves, fears, that part of you is eternal. Krishna explains it with one of the most powerful analogies in all of literature. He says, just as a person puts on new clothes and takes off old ones, the soul takes on a new body and leaves the old one behind. Death is not the end. Death is simply the soul changing its clothes. Think about what that means for a second. That person you lost and they haven't disappeared. Their body is gone, but the actual them still exist, just in a different form. Now I know what you're thinking. Okay, but where do they go? What actually happens next? Krishna answers that too.
Krishna explains in chapter 8 that what happens to your soul after death depends on one thing: what you were thinking about at the moment of death. He says, whatever state of being you remember when you leave the body, that state you will attain without doubt. This is huge. Let me explain what this means. Your whole life, every thought you have, every habit you build, every person you become, it all accumulates. And at your final moment, your dominant thought, your deepest attachment, your most practiced state of mind, that's what pulls your soul forward. This is why Krishna says, think of me always. Not because he's being demanding, but because if your mind is always anchored to the divine, then at your final moment, that anchor holds. Now Krishna describes different paths the soul can take. The path of light, for those who lived in knowledge, devotion, and wisdom. These souls go to the highest realms and do not return to this world. The path of smoke, for those who did good deeds but were still attached to results. These souls go to higher realms temporarily, enjoy the fruits of their good actions, and then return to earth in a new birth. And then there is a third path, for those who lived entirely in ignorance with no spiritual awareness at all. These souls cycle back quickly. But here's what Krishna says is the key to all of this. Krishna says, the soul that truly understands its own eternal nature stops fearing death completely. And when you stop fearing death, something incredible happens. You stop fearing everything else too. Think about it. Most of our fears come from the fear of losing things. Our health, our relationships, our reputation, our life itself. But if you truly understand, as Krishna explains, that you are not your body, you are not your possessions, you are not even your thoughts, you are an eternal soul just passing through, then what exactly is there to fear? This is why Arjuna was able to pick up his bow again after this conversation. Not because Krishna gave him a motivational speech, but because Krishna gave him the truth about what he actually was, an eternal soul, indestructible, unborn, undying, and so are you. The Bhagavad Gita was spoken on a battlefield to a man who was about to give up on everything. And Krishna didn't comfort him with false hope. He gave him the actual truth about what life and death really are. You are not your body. You are not your fear. You are an eternal soul. And you have been here before and you will continue after. That's not religion. That's not blind faith. That's the logical conclusion of what the Gita teaches, backed by 5,000 years of philosophical thought that no one has ever been able to disprove. If this video made you think differently about death, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe to Krishna Kid from us. I break down the Gita in simple English every single week, and I'll see you in the next one. Sarito.